Hey everyone, we'll get started in just a second. AR, why don't you say a few words so we can check levels?
Okay, I did not go to the convention last weekend. I am going to a convention this weekend. There is going to be nothing related to Digimon there.
That we know of. There may always be a surprise.
There's always someone at Artist Alley that will have something cute that I'll buy.
Yeah. Okay, our levels look good. Let's just go ahead and get 30 seconds of silence and then we'll start, okay? Let's start now. Okay, that should be good. You ready to go?
Hmm.
Okay. Welcome to With the Will podcast. We're here to entertain and inform while talking about Digimon. I'm Mark, I run with the Will.
And I'm AR Pulver, Digimon System Restore.
And we're a bit off schedule today, aren't we?
Yes, especially since I gave you the wrong time zone. It's actually an hour later than I was expecting to go.
You mean I was actually right about time for once?
No, I told you 8 Pacific and you said 8 Pacific. I should have told you 7 Pacific.
So,
That's on me. That's
yeah.
also on you for consistently forgetting that we're 2 hours apart.
To be fair, you forgot it this time also. You can't blame me when you got it wrong.
Oh no, I know. I just spaced on the math for once.
Yeah. So we're off schedule because Anime Expo had some generally good news, and I don't actually remember how we decided we were doing this. Did you make a joke or did I make a joke and then the other person just took it seriously?
Oh, is that what we're talking about? I thought we were having an emergency podcast because that site where you confuse two Digimon together launched, and that was worth a podcast by itself.
You know, I was very seriously considering putting in the one May made for her head. The one where it's Airdramon on Diaboromon.
I, yeah, I might have to go with the one I made of Leviamon on Lilymon's body
But
as
yeah,
my new profile.
yeah. Shall we actually go on to what we're here for, which is Anime Expo? And
Sure, even though the first item is only tangentially
yeah,
related to.
yeah. Let's go ahead into the first item, which was they premiered Senkuroll Connect there. Generally, the connection to Digimon's pretty minor. The designs are spot on because it's Uki Atsuya, and
It
he
just
showed up.
looks like yeah, it just looks like Try. That's the connection.
Yeah,
It's the same character designer, but people who do stuff for Digimon do stuff for other things all the time. But it looks so much like
yeah,
Try that we have to talk about it.
yeah, and of course, the first Senkuroll was likely how he got hired for Try in the first place. It was it
Oh,
was
absolutely.
it was a really good movie. I'm glad I went to it. I decided to go to it and skip what was going to be the clusterfuck of trying to get in and out of the Pokemon screening.
Ah, gotcha.
Had,
I was
had
gonna say, did you? I was gonna say, did you do autographs or anything?
there's a few that come up later. Let's just say, as far as autographs go.
No, I meant Ukiatsuya.
He was not signing.
Okay.
He was there just for that. There were a few raffle prizes, which were the theater booklets, which he signed and drew and didn't win those. But my
Mm-hmm.
my understanding was he flew out and then he had to go back to do more promotion for Senkuroll.
Oh, yeah. And there's also sometimes that conventions do have a condition where if they're signing autographs, they will only sign autographs for the thing that they are there to promote.
Yeah.
That
Um,
was a that was a big stink at the at ASEN this year with the some of the Fruits Basket actors because they were only allowed to sign stuff for the new Fruits Basket series and not the old one.
boo. Man,
I
so many
know.
so many people love that old show. That's almost comes across as mean.
That was yeah. I heard a lot of complaints
Yeah.
about that, and even I'm friends with a couple of the voice actors. They were really unhappy at the flack they were getting for it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good screening. Good good talk. They didn't announce he was going to be there. But I just happened to sit at the perfect place to get a half decent photo of him.
No, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really good. I'm looking forward to getting a disc of it. Because for anyone who doesn't know, Synchro Connect is 1 and 2 together, and
Hmm.
2 was just finished after he's been working on it for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you thought you waited a long time for Try to finish, but yeah, it was good and enjoyable. I recommend it if anyone gets the chance to see it. Shall we move on to the actual Digimon news?
Oh, we're going to talk about Digimon in this Digimon podcast. Cool.
I mean, we can talk about Synchro more if you'd prefer.
Mm, rather talk about Pokemon, but did you see that new character that was they had images for? Anyway, no, Digimon, let's go.
Okay. So, uh, the panel was held, and they walked literally right by me, and I got pretty decent photos. Actually, I was almost shocked just how good it was, especially when Habu turned around.
It
Yeah.
turned around going, who the hell's taking pictures of me?
Oh no, the
Get
better
that camera out of my face.
no, the better part was at first they were walking to where the front door for the panel was, and I barely got one because I didn't even realize what was happening, and they realized the door was locked, so they turned around and walked back.
Mm,
Yeah. Then later Kinoshita shows up, and he was just very casual. Like you can even see in the picture, he's just happy drinking his coffee.
yeah, shows up with Starbucks.
Yep. Um, they
I
maxed.
like the I liked your
Sorry, go.
story about them not being able to get in through the locked door. Like Anime Expo to me is like this big behemoth that I cannot possibly fathom
Whoa.
how that operates as a convention and stuff like that is like, yep, that sounds like a
AR, your
typical
audio's cutting out a
convention.
little bit.
Oh, oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like sometimes stuff like that is like, yep, Expo, just a typical convention. That's how it goes.
Yeah, it happens. One second.
Yeah,
One second. I'm gonna mute myself and attempt to fix this so that no one gets any scratching. So 1 second.
there's a lot of scratching right there, but that mute button's noisy.
It is.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just had a big scratch there.
Okay. 1 second. Gonna do that again.
Take damn.
Okay. Try talking.
Okay.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah,
That everything
that's
fixed there.
that's
So let's go ahead and move on. It maxed out.
now you're really. Oh, okay, go.
What?
Maybe that was okay.
Okay. Everything's fine.
No, now you're really scratchy.
I am.
Yeah,
1 second.
I don't know if it's different for everyone on there,
Okay. How's that?
but that was. I think it's better now.
Okay. 1 second. They're saying I'm gonna try one more thing.
That might have been what you were doing before.
Okay. How's
There is a
this?
delay on this.
How's
I
this,
think
AR?
it's okay. That sounds a little better now.
Okay. So the crowd maxed out 40 minutes before the panel began.
Yeah, room assignments. It's an art form.
Yeah. And
I've gotten that wrong before too.
people were not happy.
Yeah, I heard a couple. I saw a couple tweets from friends that weren't able to get in.
Now, since I'm sure a few people who are at the convention are going to ask this about me getting the photos when the line was outside, there was also a line inside. I was on the line
Mm.
inside in the nice air conditioning.
How long did you wait?
I showed up at 9, maybe. I was fifth in line.
Okay.
Well, at least in the line I was in, I was fifth in line.
Okay.
I found out the day before the industry badge lets you act like it's a premier badge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I just wandered up to the premier line, sat down, was fifth in line. It was very nice.
Okay.
So
Waving your privilege in everyone's faces.
I only even mention that because someone's gonna ask how did I even get the pictures when the line was outside. To be honest,
Right.
um, so there was no
You could actually see the people?
I know.
Damn.
So there were no images or recording allowed in the panel, which is why so far I've only seen one really terrible, like someone trying to get a secret shot in it. It's just a horrible photo.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's before they told us to put cameras away. Right. So the panel was hosted by Bandai community specialist Dmitry Kylan, and as we mentioned, producer Kinoshita was there for the movies. Habu was there for the games. Uh, should probably note we aren't quite going in the order that in the panel. We're kind of just going what makes the most sense for us to talk about it. And Habu has
Hmm.
since mentioned the panel will be uploaded. We don't know exactly what that means because, like, for example, will they edit out, say, the game intro if it's not up by then,
Right.
or will
I
that be,
would
or will that be when the game intro is uploaded?
possibly at the same
Yeah.
time.
So let's go ahead and move on to game stuff. Um, Before we fully move into Survive, one of the questions had to do with, how did they decide which Digimon to use, and then when will my favorite Digimon show up, and so forth.
Mm,
Hubba basically said they do look at requests, but realistically, it's the game story. They pick the main Digimon, they figure out who makes sense as supporting cast and evolutions and what works. Basically, they need a reason to be there. Which,
yeah, that's an interesting answer. I mean,
yeah,
because I didn't get that vibe from like Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, where it's just sort of they
no,
picked which ones they kind of liked. Where Survive, it makes more sense in Survive because that's going to be a little more story dominated, and I don't think your main cast you're going to have quite as much control. You can't, I guess, spread out as much
yeah,
as you could in Cyber Sleuth and Survive. You sort of have certain evolution trees, probably.
yeah, it feels really true for Survive, but it really feels like, and like you said, like the opposite of everything they did for Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, where they effectively said this is just who we wanted to use.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
or in like Hacker's Memory, where it's like let's throw in all the spirits in from Frontier and some
yeah,
of the Shoutmon and them. It's like, oh, those will be fun.
yeah, and
Like
now
we'll just fudge the rules and
it,
stuff and
it
just throw them in and make up stats for them. It's all
it
good
it's a very good answer to give though when they've already said they're only aiming for around 100 Digimon.
for
Like
sure.
like it's a
Yeah,
very
when you only have 100, you do have to be selective about it and kind of put some thought into that, especially if, for that sort of a game, there's probably a lot more thought into what battles are occurring, so
yeah,
you've got to match things up a little better.
yeah. Shall we talk about Survive more directly what happened at the panel now?
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
so are we shocked that it was delayed to 2020? Not really. I mean, I feel like we're supposed to be shocked, but I don't think anyone really was, right?
Yeah, that's not a surprise.
No.
I guess, yeah, it's like, I guess it is technically considered a delay, but at this point, I'm like, sort of expecting it anyway, so
Yeah.
it feels disingenuous to call it a delay, even though it's technically
Yeah.
correct.
I question if they. I kind of think the 2019 date may have been them guessing based on how early they were at the time.
Right.
Yeah. Um. So then there was another question: was does Digimon Survive take place in the real or digital world? And I heard it was inspired by a plot-pointed adventure. Was it a specific episode? New World, and the main inspiration was basically monsters responding to their partner's emotions and how you act in the game will affect evolution, which they've already gone like the one thing about the questions, they were almost all things they've kind of gone over before.
Yeah, I noticed that too as I was following
Yeah,
along. Like
they're
it's
they're
presented as it's not really any new information.
no,
It's just sort of
yeah,
repackaged from the
yeah,
the video Bandai put out
yeah,
previously.
and or like the inspiration from Adventure was that he had talked to Kakado and his ideas about the origins of Digimon help. Like this is all stuff that we honestly knew that he.
It's it's good for it's good for a panel. It's
Yeah,
nice to
no,
hear
it is.
live. Like it's not new information, but it's still
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
information.
Like they went over this. We're not going to go into the, them being spiritual beings because that was just last episode we talked about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago.
The one big surprise though was they showed the full animated intro, which was, I people were saying it was 5 minutes. I feel like it was more like 3 or 4, but that's kind of like nitpicking. Fully voiced, subtitled. We got to look at what I think are two more main characters in it, which oddly seems to fill out a few more adventure type roles in it.
Ooh, okay.
There was, I want to say, bit shorter male character with a hat who very characters not scared by, but like the kind of brash thinks he's a punk character who shows up in the classroom and a few of the girls go yeah, and run
Okay.
away. There's that,
Okay.
and then there was a girl who it looked like not ran away, but ran off on her own in the morning, and the her parents or whoever was
Hmm.
looking after kind of sighed that she did again. She had some sort of hat,
It's
and yeah,
it's Mimi. Yeah. Okay.
I'd almost say it's more Mimi a la Kari.
It's Mimi.
We already
Hikari doesn't have a hat anymore.
Mimi's already in it.
We got images. Well, I'm jumping ahead a bit, but Hikari doesn't have a hat anymore. Mimi has had a hat, so it's
Yeah,
Mimi.
yeah. And the big surprise was Survive pre-orders opened just a few hours ago for all three systems.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it feels kind of weird for them to go game's delayed, pre-order it.
we'll get it to you when we get it to you.
Yeah. So we'll see. They did a nice standby date that I'm sure some people will begin to freak out over soon enough.
I'm not in a rush. I will pre-order it
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah. And then you do have to like when the questions are just full-on setups. Um, the next question is: will previous games be ported to Switch, PC, etc.? Habu explained.
Okay, okay.
Well,
So this is where I'm gonna bring up my tier list that I did Sunday morning.
first let me give you the answer, and then you can do the tier before we move on to the card. Fair enough?
Okay, yeah.
Habu basically went over, porting games isn't quite as easy as it sometimes seems to be, but they do consider it based on desire. And AR, would you like to go over your little tier?
Okay, so right before the panels, I like 2 hours before the panel started, I thought, wouldn't it be fun to sort of be informative slash troll the Agumon for Smash people by by separating, kind of coming up with a tier system of which of the likelihood of stuff happening at this panel, stuff being announced. So like tier 1 was, some sort of a trailer for the new movie. Tier 2 was a new Survive trailer, and it went on and on down the list until I eventually just started getting completely ridiculous stuff like tier 8 was a net was I'm sorry, tier 9 was actually confirming Doki Doki Digimon Academy. Tier 12 was a bilingual Blu-ray release of seasons 1 through 5. Tier 14 was a new fighting game where you can fight with anybody, including the kids. And tier 15, the final tier, the least likely thing to happen was Agumon confirmed for Smash. What that mentioned there was previous games being re-released on modern console. That was a tier 8. The other thing on tier 8 was Netflix redubs Digimon Adventure.
Shall I switch to the card and we can show them what they actually got?
Yes.
Which in theory they already know about. Hey, look, it's Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition, which I believe all three of us called in the last episode.
Hacker's Memory being announced for Switch was tier 1 on my list, including the original Cyber Sleuth was tier 2. So,
Yeah,
yeah, not a
yeah.
surprise at all.
So they announced it for Switch and PC.
Mm-hmm.
October 18th, which is announcing it 3 months ahead of time is pretty good, to be honest. Um,
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah.
announce the price at the panel, but we now know it's $50. They did not mention how some of the DLC would be handled. The Japanese release looks like it's keeping the NX Digimon as DLC, and pre-orders are open. Of course, the interesting thing is that the Hacker's Memory in Japan was already a complete edition, so they're just keeping the branding there, but using our cover art. You would think they would just call it complete edition or give it some fancy name just to look special or something, though. Don't you think?
Mm, yeah, actually, it really is. But I suppose it is sort of like you've got the main game and then you've got the second game. So it is sort of like a, Persona 3 FES or something where you've got that just second side
Yeah.
game.
Well, here's the weird thing.
But then again, I suppose Hacker's Memory is a far more full game than
Well,
the FES was in Persona 3.
that has to do with the weird thing. So if anyone does watch the trailer, there are some spoilers in it, just as a warning. But here's the thing: the trailer places Hacker's Memory far better than the marketing ever did, like in explaining how it's actually connected to Cyber Sleuth.
Okay.
But like, if you look at stuff, it kind of just acts like it's a little expansion when it's rather sizable.
It is a full-on game.
Yeah, but like, it uses a lot of assets from Cyber Sleuth, which is fine. But like, even if you look at the
Sure,
stuff,
sure.
but even if you look at the stuff now, just calling it Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition, uh, even, and they kind of did it the first time in Japan, where they sort of just go Hacker's Memory Chapter. It treats it kind of like minimal DLC or something. It's kind of weird.
I also find it interesting that they do that and then put Hacker's Memory on the top of the box.
Yeah. Although, like, even the layout for both the U.S. and Japan, though, the crops are really bad. Like,
Yeah.
eh. I mean, I guess that's
I
about
wish
it.
that I wish they had found a way to use that one image where all the characters from both series are kind of together.
See, I would have just done a
That
new.
one wraparound cover, that one wraparound cover was so good.
I would
I
have
wish
just.
they'd found a way to use that.
I would have just done a new piece of art, to be honest.
That would have worked too.
Yeah. But yeah. So pre-orders are already open for Switch. PC should open anytime. I I'm gonna give it another chance on Switch. I think being a bit more able to pick up and put down, I might find it more enjoyable, not having to just sit in front of the TV and play for hours and hours.
Mm.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I own both discs, so I'm probably not going to get this one
I'm
unless there's some really crazy great DLC addition to it. I'm probably just going to stick with the
Yeah.
PS4.
I'm very curious to see the technical aspects of the Switch and PC version. Like, how will the Switch
Hmm.
version run? What kind of options will the PC version have? That sort of thing. I'm just
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just very interested to see. But it's nice that's coming, especially on PC, where it feels like if you get something on PC, you could kind of just archive it away forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and everyone can hack it to bits and come up with cool assets or something.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what gets hacked. I feel like the first thing will be having, assuming it's not theirs, having both Noir and Seal.
Your starter's going to be Bun.
We demand bun. Um, so then Q&A was basically, this one was three or so put together. Will there be a new blank whatever? Will there be a new Cyber Sleuth? Will there be a new Digimon story? Um, there is no new Cyber Sleuth being worked on. New Digimon story is, to which there was shock, which of
Really?
course a little bit, not a lot, but we already knew. Um,
This
the
was the highest tiered thing that got
yeah.
confirmed, but that was
Well,
more me
the
wording
pro
it poorly.
yeah, the problem is there. Habu mentioned the game would take place in the real world and digital world, which, like, even Cyber Sleuth, which is kind of light on the digital world, it is there
It
as I
was very.
recall.
Oh, it was Cyber Sleuth was very light on
Yeah,
the digital
but but,
world, but it
but
did include it.
yeah, but it
Hacker's
is there.
Memory. I don't think Hacker's Memory did not have anything in the digital
Oh,
world, as
okay,
far as I recall.
okay,
So,
but
but
yeah,
Cyber Sleuth absolutely did though. The final
okay,
battle was in the digital world straight up.
okay, but yeah, going it will take place in the real and digital world, minus the survive stuff. It a bit iffy for that to be like the tease. This game's gonna take place in the digital world. It was reiterated once again.
I
This is
mean, I mean, after Cyber Sleuth, that's an interesting twist.
well, but
Like,
here's the
it's obviously not a twist for the overall story
yeah.
franchise, but coming off of Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, to have something where you can go potentially back and forth is
But
kind of a cool
but
thing.
but that's the thing. We don't know if that's what that means. It could easily
Right,
be
right.
like it could easily be the generic
You have
game
one
of you.
segment in the real world, one
Yeah,
segment in the digital. But
yeah.
even that's, you know, as long as, hearing that, I'm expecting something more than 19 chapters in the real world, one chapter in the digital world, like Cyber Sleuth was.
See, I don't know. I think this was more just a generic answer, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't think this was a real. I
It's
mean,
not, it's not something for us to
yeah,
dissect the way
yeah,
we are right now, but
yeah. Fair enough.
I interpret that as being a bit, more digital world focused than Cyber Sleuth was. I would say that much. To
Fair,
what degree, I have no
yeah.
idea.
Fair enough. It was reconfirmed that it is not a sequel to any prior game. which you never know. We've had games recently that aren't
Yeah.
directly connected to prior games, and there ends up being little twists and cameos. So we'll see.
Well, the way we, who knows, Murray
Yeah,
may show up.
exactly. No further information at the moment, which not really a shock considering. I mean, Survive's not even out until next year at this point. They're not going to be
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
this is a down the road type thing, but
Um.
it's nice to have a down the road type thing.
Yeah.
2020 shaping up to be
Yeah.
a big year, but now we know that there's going to be something after that, which
Yeah.
is reassuring.
Yeah. And game stuff was what they did second at the panel. They were starting to run out of time. They had to do their little raffle type or prize stuff, so they sort of started rushing through.
Hmm.
Go. So that was basically it for the games. But we got a lot of anime stuff. So let's start with
Yeah,
the
they broke out the anime stuff right off the
yeah.
bat, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. So they confirmed the title, which is Digimon Adventure Last Evolution KIZUNA, which is what we knew, what we believed it was based on
Hmm.
early
Hmm.
information.
Still a
Uh,
mouthful.
yeah. Uh, the new, I guess you'd just call it a teaser poster game where it's basically the same art as before, but more anime colored.
Yeah, there's a bit more anime color to it. There's a bit of a background to it.
Some text.
There's some weird interpretation of the kanji in there.
Yeah.
There's the date.
Yeah. So the date was confirmed. The date was confirmed after the panel. To be clear, I do not believe the date was there when I was
Hmm.
sitting.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I don't think it was there when I was sitting
Yeah, I
there.
think you're right because I don't remember seeing I don't remember seeing. I should say I remember reacting to the tweet they put out when I saw it hours later.
Yeah. Um. So they also announced staff, which was really good. So the director's Tomohisa Taguchi. He's worked on a few different Persona anime. He worked on the recent version of Kino's Journey, and they actually noted that he actually grew up watching Digimon and being a fan. And they actually noted that this was basically a Digimon movie being made by fans.
Hmm.
So the writer's Akatsuki Yamatoya. He wrote for Digimon Adventure, Digimon Frontier, Digimon Savers, a bunch of Gintama. He did the Blue
Oh.
Dragon anime, Busa Renkin. He was in charge of writing for
The
Hero Man.
Gintama stuff actually
Yeah.
impresses me more than all the
Uh,
Digimon stuff.
so,
Like the Digimon, I don't know what I'm getting.
well, here's one that I think works really well for Digimon's energy. Soul Eater. I think that matches
Oh,
Digimon's energy really well.
Do you say Soul Eater? You cut out for a bit
Yeah, Soul
on my
Eater.
end. Soul Eater. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, that's a
Um,
good thumbs up there.
To Love Ru, Zatch Bell, which was kind of associated with Digimon for a while.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a Zatch Bell. That's sort of a
And
sister franchise in a way,
yeah, and Shinkenger,
or
which was
a
yeah,
weird cousin that nobody likes to talk
yeah,
about.
and Shinkenger, which is one of the better Sentai series, which makes that Power Ranger connection again. And the actual list of looking at the stuff he's worked on, it was just insane. I could have made a list 10 times as long.
Mm-hmm.
Chief animation director Seiji Tachikawa worked on Ace Attorney, Amagami SS, and the recent version of Kino's Journey. Um, the
A lot of
interesting,
Kino's Journey credits in
yeah.
there.
Now the
I heard
interest,
mixed stuff. I heard mixed stuff about the new one, but
yeah.
I like Kino's Journey in general, so I'm
Now,
on board.
now the interesting thing was they showed the trailer in their English subtitled, and at the end it says the U.S. release is in spring 2020, which was a little bit of a shock, to be honest. Now
There was a confirmed U.S. release.
yes, it was spring
Okay,
2020, and that's in
that
the
adds
trailer
another
that they've
that adds
uploaded.
another thing to my tier list that I missed last time.
But I will add an asterisk. It's being reported by people that it was said theatrical. If that was said somewhere, I
Oh,
missed it. I don't believe it was. I think that
it's gonna have a U.S. release. We don't
yes,
know how.
I believe that that was a misinterpretation of that.
Yeah,
I would assume we'll get Fathom or something though.
probably, but
Yes.
yeah, I actually missed that it was getting a U.S. confirmed release because
Uh,
I was updating my tier list to say this is the stuff we actually got,
it,
and I missed that one. That
it's
was a tier
it's actually at
2 or 3.
it's at the end of the trailer they uploaded.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Because they uploaded that subtitled trailer after. Um, and, man, that's an interesting trailer, isn't it? Well, before we get to the trailer, we
Sort
should
of.
before
Okay. Well, you
okay
wanna?
before the trailer, we should also point out the other bit of key art, which was the scene from Adventure 1, which has been redrawn, and they don't quite say it, they show it in the movie, but it feels like they kind of have to if they're going to the effort.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. So let's go ahead and talk about the trailer, because it's weird. There's like lots to talk about, but it's also a lot of trying to interpret based on quick looks and flashes.
I found almost nothing to talk about in the trailer. It looks
Really?
pretty.
It looks
I
pretty.
thought it was just
Well, there's a
it's like this is sort of like it looks really good. It is a much better cohesion between the previous series and Try than I may have
yeah,
expected. As far
yeah,
as the actual
like
content, as far as the actual content of them, and like there's a lot to speculate over,
yeah.
but I don't like I don't think there's really anything we can
We,
kind of dial into.
but to be fair, we can speculate. Like for example, the
I
new
got
the new thing
speculate.
is clearly. I don't know if it's a cell phone or a cell phone case,
Right.
and it's also not clear is that a new thing or did the Digivice turn into it? Because we see the same
Mm.
countdown thing. Because there is some sort of countdown clock.
Yes.
And now, here's the thing:
Yep. That's
it's not mentioned what it's counting down. The title makes me feel like it's how many times he evolves, but that's guessing, and it's kind of wild guessing.
sorry you cut out there for a second. What was
I
that?
did. That the countdown clock, we don't know what it's for, but based on the title, it makes me feel like it has to do with evolution. Like maybe each
Mm.
time he
Yeah.
evolves, it counts down, but we really don't
Mm.
know. Now, interestingly, it is completely.
So, oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
that's actually that's an interesting idea. The idea that each time like he evolves, it's kind of like is it a countdown like is it an our war game style countdown or is it a girl who leapt through time style countdown where it's either time based or usage based?
Yeah,
That's an
and of course,
interesting
since you bring up war game,
thing to speculate over.
and we brought it up before, is this really like it's one of the things we brought up a
Oh
lot is
yeah.
that Digimon wants. It's not necessarily generic adventure that stuff aims for. It's specific.
Mm-hmm.
Everything aims for war game, no matter what it is.
Yeah, you got the Hosoda net going on there.
Yeah, this
Like
really
at that point, it's you're not even in our
no.
war game territory. You're straight into Summer Wars territory
Yeah,
with that sequence.
but it'll be interesting to see. And of course, the odd thing is the trailers completely just tie in Agumon.
Oh yeah,
It was a
yeah.
bit that was a bit surprising, but man, seeing Agumon walk across the screen just made me so happy.
Mhm.
And the interesting thing is,
It never gets old to see
no,
the to see a new trailer. Like this is
no,
not that much more informative than the first real Try trailer we got, and it's basically the same,
yeah,
stuff to speculate over and whatnot without any real answers. But it's still fun to watch.
no, exactly. And I don't know. There's lots of just interesting stuff to think, and it's all speculation. But like,
I know a
it's
lot of people are speculating over why there are exactly 17 ticks, and like, good luck trying to figure that
yeah.
out.
But like, for example, does it feel like Tai Chi knows something that Agumon doesn't?
Mm. Yeah,
It
I don't know.
yeah. It's one of those
Maybe.
things. Yeah, we're because here's the thing.
I mean, the thing is, yeah.
Realistically, we'll be speculating on this again, so we
Oh,
won't
for
go
sure.
into
We'll
it.
get more.
We
I
won't
mean,
go.
it's also like, Taichi and Agumon wondering about their last adventure.
Yeah.
And it's like people are wondering, it's like, oh my God, that's how it's going to end. And it's
No,
like, that could
I,
very well,
it,
that could very well be the conflict that they're trying to stop is to prevent it from
yeah,
being their last
yeah.
adventure.
I'm also generally more assuming that it's metaphor.
Mm, I
It,
think that could. I mean, it's probably. I am imagining a situation where something is actually threatening to pull them apart
oh no,
permanently, and
no,
they have to stop it. But
that
and they
also,
probably
but
will.
when I say metaphor, I just mean that it is not saying that this is the end of adventure, because I think that's being taken far too literally by people. And to be fair, the taglines in the trailer do not help with that. You know what I mean? Hey, are you there?
Yeah, you totally cut out there. I missed that.
Oh, you were cutting out entirely. Huh. Weird. I actually think it's you cutting out because I actually saw my thing
Oh,
spiking still. Huh. What I was saying was people are taking the last evolution a bit too literally as this being the end of adventure.
Oh, well, I can see it being the end for now. Like as far as being, if they do
Yeah.
this one and that'll be the end of, they'll stop with adventure for a couple years.
Yeah. Um, so the and one of the things they mentioned is it's the last adventure of Taichi and Agumon. Oh, how sad. I don't buy it though, to be honest.
It's the last ish.
Yeah. So it's February 21st in Japan and spring 2020 in the US. So we'll see it. So it is a good teaser trailer though. It's one of the things that gets you pumped for more. And sorry, what was that?
I lost you there again.
Okay. I'm going to mute both of us and try to adjust something quickly. Okay?
Okay. Difficulties card.
AR, try talking.
I'm still here. What's up?
Ooh, really?
You're really quiet.
Yeah, 1 second. Try talking, AR.
Talking, talking, talking.
Okay, that seems to be better. Although for some reason mine looks really low right now.
Yeah, you are really low right now.
1 second to mute me. How's that? Why is it?
You're still really low.
Okay, how? No, why am I showing so low?
Hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Now you're okay.
Okay, I don't know what that was. Huh. Okay, it should be fine now. So move. Let's
Ooh,
go. Let's go ahead and move
okay.
on. What's wrong?
Okay.
Do I sound iffy?
Little. You were for a bit there.
Okay, let's move on to the designs. Let's go over the Digimon first. There's not really much to say here, is there?
About the Digimon designs?
Yeah.
No.
So the main thing about the Digimon design is they're all based on the adventure designs, but am I wrong? Or are they all using the tri-colors?
I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm sort of colorblind.
Oh, okay. Yeah. They all use the slightly more subdued colors. The only real difference is Gomamon seems taller and Agumon's head seems wider.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not much to say about them. Let's go ahead and move on to the kids, which is where, well, not really kids anymore, but
Yeah.
yeah.
They're adults now.
Yeah. So Tai Chi's design has been cleaned up significantly from calling them early designs isn't quite right because they're entirely different types of
Yeah.
designs. But yeah, it works really well. I think it works better without the star, to be honest.
Oh, I liked the star. I mean, it fits better with his actual wardrobe, but the star was a good tribute.
You aren't wrong. Um, See, it's hard to comment because it just looks like Tai Chi, and there isn't much.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah.
natural. Let's put
Uh,
it that way.
Yamato feels like the closest to the Nakatsuru artwork.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yamato and in a way Mimi as
Yeah.
well.
See,
I guess you could say that way.
I disagree. I disagree on Mimi.
Mimi had a few
Yeah.
subtle changes.
So Sora, they've gotten rid of the formal kimono and gone to more casual. It feels like
And
this. Sorry, go ahead.
go on. But I was going to say the Sora they got rid of the kimono, but when we get to the profiles, we'll
Yeah,
swing back to that.
yeah. Well, Sora's has her longer hair back, and I was gonna say it felt more energetic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels more playing up that she is still supposed to be a young character when and they do tend to play up the mom aunt of the group role with her, and I think this
Mm-hmm.
works a bit better not doing it for once. And we'll swing back to that shortly because I know we both have a few things to say about that. Koshiro, they fixed the only real issue I had, which was the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not wearing the coat, but really it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Mimi, it feels like just changing up some of the angles and tweaking the colors
Mm-hmm.
a bit really like improves the design 100 times
It's
over.
sort of like they went off of the artwork and
Yeah.
just said, "Okay, let's make this good now."
Yeah. I know May was super excited by the design to the point that she was going to try to join us during her lunch break. If she pops up during
I
it,
don't think. Yeah, May didn't actually tell us when the lunch break actually was.
yeah.
So
So we'll see if she pops up. We may pop back to Mimi, but I think this is the one that feels the most improved.
I mean, if May pops up, we're just gonna. It's sort of a free for
Yeah.
all, and May gets to pick
Yeah.
category.
Yeah. But yeah, Mimi feels like the most improved from the final Nakatsuru art, I would say.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Joe, what's weird is a lot of people seem to not like Joe's. I like that they're showing him as a medical student.
It's sort of weird in a way where Joe, you get a bit more, knowing what their
Yeah.
profiles are now. Joe is even more dialed into what that profile was, and Sora they drew it back a little bit.
Yeah. Um, yeah, there's not much to say here because it is just, medical garb, but it works well. Ta-
Yeah.
Takaru, it's less that they changed a lot, it's more they tweaked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They changed the
Yeah,
hat,
they just did a couple.
they
Yep.
they changed the hat, they closed the vest, they changed some colors. I think it works overall.
Oh yeah. Like
My,
it feels very
yeah,
Takeru.
yeah. Hikari's interesting because a lot is improved, but I don't like the face. Like something about it just doesn't work for me.
It's mm-hmm.
Like her face worked really well in the Nakatsu art. Here, it's almost a bit too clean,
Mm.
and I feel like the chin feels a bit too pointy. It like distracts me.
Hmm.
Um, the only other real change is they swapped her from shoes to sandals, and they made the overshirt transparent. And I know you want to talk about it, so go ahead.
About what?
The hat.
Oh, no, I didn't want to talk about it. I mentioned that before they got rid of the hat.
Okay.
I
Uh,
didn't really have any comments
oh,
about it.
okay.
I was just
I
pointing
thought
it
you did.
out.
Okay, so
No,
go.
you were mentioning it before when we are talking about the
Yeah,
new Survive characters that we haven't seen yet. That because that she doesn't have a hat anymore, that means the new Survive character is Mimi and not Hikari.
yeah,
That was the only point I had to make.
yeah. Okay, so for the profiles, um, man,
Yes, here we can.
okay, Tai Chi's really leapfrogs off Try.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think a lot of them do.
Yeah. So his is
It's really nice.
he's in university going for political science and economy, uh, basically living on his own, studies, jobs. He hasn't quite decided what he wants to be, and he still jumps in to help people when Digimon are tech, which is interesting because this is the first time with Adventure where they don't set it up as that just things just aren't around.
Yeah, this implies that there's active
Yeah,
stuff going on that they have to deal
yeah,
with, which is
yeah,
a nice development and
yeah,
a nice thing to start from a basis from.
yeah,
That's the new normal, and that's a cool thing to
yeah.
have.
Yamato's makes me laugh because it feels
I
like it.
guess.
Sorry, go
Well,
ahead.
another point I'd make about Try, about his connection with Try is, and his future career, the idea that he still doesn't know what to do. It makes sense because even though he wrestled all that with Try, you think about what he becomes at the end of 02. That job doesn't exist yet. Like he's gonna have to just invent that job
Yeah,
basically.
yeah,
So it makes sense that he doesn't know what to do because what he wants to do doesn't exist yet.
yeah. As for Yamato, does it feel like this is leaning almost cartoonishly into? like the stereotype of how people imagined him.
I find it really funny because every new season sort of semi discards what he did before and adds a new thing.
Yeah,
It's like it's sort of it's like okay in 02 it's like okay let's take let's take the harmonica thing and just make him a full on band member,
yeah.
and then in
It
Yamato, and then in Try like he only had the harmonica thing in one scene, and now it's like
Bandit. Yeah,
the band is the big thing, and then he wrote a moped in one scene, so now this new project, okay, he's totally
motorcycles.
ditching the band, but he's all into
Yeah,
motorcycles.
and it's like, and he has to go find himself.
Well, yeah, he's always had to go find
Yeah,
himself. He's been trying to do that. He's been
yeah,
trying to do that since season one. It's about time he got around.
yeah, yeah. Now I think the one that
But
we,
with the band thing, though, the fact that he enjoys music more as a hobby, that was something that was sort of touched on in the stage play. That it wasn't
yeah,
really it wasn't meant to be a serious thing. That it's just sort of an outlet
true.
and not a career. Like that's sort of a little bit of a nod to the stage play, which I like.
Well, I think that was kind of true in O2 also, to be honest. It just didn't come up and
I
try
think
much.
it was, but it was in 02 and in Try, but I think there was a lot. It got in a lot of fans' heads that this is going to be a future career for him,
True.
and I like that this is sort of saying no. Let's hold off on that. That's not what he's doing it for.
Yeah, true. So, shall we move on to one that feels like it's the most interesting, which also feels very strange because expectation-wise, you it's almost been expected that Sora is going to be the driest profile-wise.
Strange, no. Interesting, yes. I didn't
Yeah.
find it
Well,
strange,
no,
but
no, I mean strange in the sense of depending on how you interpret stuff here, it feels like there's a lot more that's interpretable here.
okay,
So
go for it.
she's a fourth year university student at a women's college. That's borderline
Yeah,
expected. She decided
yeah.
not to look for a job, but to go on the same path as her mother, take over as the head of the. Now, it says flower arrangement school. Wasn't it a shop? Or am I misremembering that?
If it's
Maybe it was
no,
both.
it would
Maybe it
be
was both.
if in an Iamoto household implies that there is a school
Okay,
involved. Like
fair,
there may be a
fair
shop in
enough.
the exterior, but if if you're descending from this long line of if there's a family legacy tied to flower arranging, the implication is there is a school, sort of like Astra had in Atmon.
Okay, fair enough. Um, her sociable personality hasn't changed. Uh, she teaches for. It doesn't say what. I assume it means teaching foreigners flower arranging, and she has a wide
Yep.
circle of friends. And this, the last line is, I feel like, where there's the most interpretation and most possibility that we may have slightly odd wording. Because it's important to her to live a normal everyday life, she hardly meets with the others.
Okay, what's your interpretation? Because I have mine and I love this.
I, the interpretation based on how I read it is that she's avoiding them. But that doesn't feel
Okay.
but that doesn't feel true to the character to me. But also with a year skip you can cheat that easily.
My interpretation is not quite that dramatic. My interpretation is that it's just sort of not really that interested in being in the whole idea of being in the front lines of fighting with Digimon.
That's pro
My interpret I interpreted that as, and this is something I've sort of headcanon and had other projects where I've sort of believed this was a direction for her, where she's just sort of like at some point goes, I really don't want, I kind of want to dial it back a bit.
yeah.
Sort of like Joe was in Try, where it's just sort of like, I really don't have time for this. Sora, it might be just the incredible trauma they've gone through,
Yeah.
just going, I don't really need this in my life. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go in this other direction. If something happens, something super dramatic happens, I'm sure she'd answer the call, but not her first choice of
Yeah.
things.
No, that's not about it. I'm probably going more dramatic with the wording than is necessary. That just happens to be how I read
You
it.
do that. I'm
Yeah.
sticking with.
Now,
I think I just think that it's not that she's not friends with them anymore. It's just that she's
no,
just
no,
not,
absolutely, yeah.
The way it says, Taichi and Takeru are, going out and intervening when stuff happens. Sora's not doing that.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, Koshiro's interesting because Koshiro's is 100% try.
Yeah.
He runs his own business while in university, which is a growth from what we saw him doing in Try. With the funds that he makes,
Hmm.
he acts as a hub between the digital world and the human world to save people in trouble from Digimon incidents, and he's the
Hmm.
leading role in maintaining the community that spreads throughout the world of chosen children.
I guess that's an interesting.
Now,
It's
I
an interesting development only in the sense that we got the implication that Takeru was doing that in
see
Try.
see I was under the impression that Takeru was the one who was writing it, but that it was Koshiro who was the one who was upkeeping it.
It could have been that too.
Yeah, but
Like I'm sure if there's a website involved, Koshiro
yeah,
probably said it.
it's very Koshiro though.
Oh
That
yeah,
yeah
totally. This
yeah.
is this is just a continuation of
Now
Koshiro and Try.
now since May isn't here to do Mimi, would you like to do Mimi? Because Mimi's is just funny as hell. It perfect.
Mimi's is wonderful.
Yeah
So Mimi is selling articles that thinks are cute online. A business girl, not only in Japan, traveling worldwide. Days are always busy, inventing original goods and the like. Often unable to see the others, but she keeps in contact frequently.
now
This is
does this
pure
feel?
Mimi.
Yeah, it's not only pure Mimi. Does it feel like they're almost setting up an R War game thing again?
Oh, I hope not.
Because well, like when you think about
This is this is where this is where they can get into trouble.
yeah,
Like this is sort of like it kind of does
yeah,
imply that, but it's like sort of like also they better not.
yeah, because yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's hard to comment on her
Like
because
Mimi better be in this movie.
yeah, it's hard to comment on hers like we did for say Sora's because Mimi's is just Mimi. There is
Yeah.
no
Oh no,
interpretation
no,
there.
this is just Mimi being Mimi for
Yeah,
sure. Like it's sort of it's it feels a little
yeah,
contrary to the 02 epilogue, and at the same time it kind of doesn't because Mimi's epilogue career was also completely random and very just Mimi
yeah,
sort of stumbled onto this thing,
yeah,
which it seems like Mimi's doing. Like she just
yeah.
sort of stumbled onto, selling stuff on eBay
But like I
and
can
ends up becoming this worldwide mogul.
see at the
Like
very
it fits.
yeah, I was gonna say at the very least like with that setup for Mimi, you can see how she ends up in the epilogue with
Absolutely. Like
yeah,
it's just sort of she just ends up she ends up meeting with a client and decides to it's like, "Hey, can I try cooking something for you?" and the client loves it and puts her on a TV show.
I should just
Like
point
you can see that
I should
happen.
just point out since it came up in the chat room, there's been no information about how long the movie takes place over. There's
Oh, about
yeah,
oh
it
god,
was mentioned in this, that someone heard that it takes
oh yeah,
place over
yeah.
multiple days. It makes sense that it won't be over one day,
I
but
mean, I
we have no
yeah.
actual information, minus that we see a sunset in the trailer.
Oh,
Uh,
jeez.
yeah,
They really are overanalyzing this thing.
yeah,
Okay.
Um, so I feel like Joe's another one where there's not really much interpretation with Joe. You alive?
Yeah, my mute button has been very unreliable. I have
Yeah.
not been trusting my cough
Yeah,
button today, so I
yeah.
just keep having.
I feel like both of our setups are acting a bit weird today.
It is really weird today.
Yeah.
I was checking my task manager to see if I was having a processing problem, and I found that for some reason Dropbox of all things was taking up 20% of my CPU.
Good. So it wasn't just me then. So
I
okay.
guess, but
Yes.
fuck Dropbox. I closed it by the way.
It's clearly May's fault.
I don't see
Yeah.
May around here anymore, so it must be.
Yeah. So okay, like
Joe's still a doctor.
yeah,
Okay.
Joe's fifth year medical student. He's inexperienced in clinical practice. His passion that drove him to be a doctor in the first place means has him studying hard every day, and that means he's not meeting up with the others. Is weird because it's sort of the same situation as in Tribe, but it's for a focused reason that isn't avoiding them. Like
Right.
it's
There's no implication whether he's avoiding them intentionally. It's just he's
he's
doing
busy.
his thing.
Yeah.
And I guess to be fair, it wasn't really an intentional thing in try at the beginning of try either.
See,
It sort of grew into that as this weird logic thing that he had to deal with, but it
yeah.
wasn't like he was intentionally avoiding them. He was just bearing down and doing his thing and kind of lost track.
I'd say it wasn't necessarily as intentional as that he was trying to avoid it. It wasn't that he was just
Well, no, it,
coincidentally
it, it
not.
grew into it
Yeah,
grew into trying to
yeah.
avoid it, but
Now, will you do Takaru's? Because for some reason, Takaru's I just kind of love it, and you can go ahead and do him.
Oh, so first year university student with a literature major, hazy about what he wants to be in the future, beginning to learn English and French at school, a member of Club for Children's Book Writing, and helps out in the group's activities that involve Digimon.
This works perfect both for him when he was younger and what he grows into. This one works really well for me.
Yeah, it works really well to the point where it's kind of boring. Like it's
True. No,
I
you're
guess
not you're not wrong.
it's sort of like so perfect. Like if you had told me to imagine what he'd be doing at this stage in the career, this is probably like exactly what I'd come up with. I like the English and French. That was a nice flourish.
Yeah, that's a whoa,
Hi.
May.
Yo.
May
I've muted AR and May temporarily because the audio from May is so bad it's not listenable. AR?
Yeah,
Okay. AR
sorry.
AR is back on mic.
I was taking it. I was since
Yeah.
you said you muted me, I took it a moment to call.
Yeah. I think May might have left. 1 second. Let me attempt to see if she's still there.
Typing.
Okay,
Oh, muted.
May muted herself.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was just a very
Yeah. May is
yeah.
here.
May
Yeah.
has her lunches in a wind tunnel.
Yeah. I don't think May was aware just how loud that was.
Mm.
May, do you want to try to unmute to see what comes up? Okay. AR is not muted.
Oh, no, I muted
Okay.
myself back
Okay.
off again.
Yeah.
But
Okay. May's leaving the shop.
okay.
That may just be the sounds of the city that are then blowing up when she's on mic. Oh, very
Okay.
windy.
Yeah.
Okay. May, if you can find a place without wind, you can comment on Mimi before we get too far away from her. While we wait for May to find a place, shall we move on to Hikari, who is the last one?
Let me see. Did I have any notes on? Yeah, I had no more notes on
Yeah.
Takeru. So yeah.
Um, so she's first year in a women's junior college specializing in preschool education. A little bit of distance between her and Taichi, but that's mostly because he's, off living on his own. And they still see each other, especially when they're doing stuff that involves Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like this one's almost one of the more natural ones where he's, growing up and not in the house anymore. It feels like,
I other than yeah, it's generally pretty uninteresting except for the idea that there's some distance between them, which could mean something as simple as yeah,
yeah, that's
they're
how.
at different colleges, they're in different colleges, and that sort of thing is going to happen. I want to imagine that there is some sort of a distance between them because I do want Hikari to do something on her own.
Do you really believe there is, or do you just want there to be, though?
I want there to be. I have no idea what there really is,
Yeah.
but like if you're asking me what I want there to be some sort of fantastic dramatic rift between them because of the ending of Try, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not what was going on
Yeah.
there, but I like to use my imagination and forecast such
I,
melodrama.
I I would just like to comment. This is gonna be the most fucked episode for me to try to clean up and edit.
Oh,
I
I
I
was aware of that already. I
I
was like I really hope you're going to try to clean all
oh
that up.
no, I generally do. I just really hate editing. I'm not good at it. I do attempt to, and record myself at the beginning commenting that there may be slight issues. But yeah, I will attempt to deal with a few issues here. Man, I really.
That minute long break
Yeah,
when
I
their
I may
sim
I
setups were working.
I may actually clip that part out because
There you
that
go.
that one clear was oddly
That was
yeah.
yeah, that was junk. You
That
can
that
just
yeah, that wasn't just me. There were times when I'm literally looking at the audio input and output, and you're just not anything.
yeah.
Like even if it was I at one point I thought it was my headset, but I'm looking at the thing and just nothing from you. So
It's all
yeah, yeah,
Dropbox's fault. Okay.
yeah. That's it for the characters. We will bounce back to that when and if May is able to find a silent place.
Mm-hmm.
We will skip over what May said in the Discord chat. Thank you, May, for not saying it on mic, even though I'm sure we'll have to discuss that more later at some point.
We do not have to discuss that further.
Yeah. So moving
Hosoda
on.
is not part of this project.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So moving on. Actual convention images. The Toei booth was really nice. Like they had the memorial image and they brought the Tai Chi statue.
Yeah, that's nice.
They had the nice big poster wall with it in English, and partway
So
through.
did they
Sorry, go ahead.
put up? So did they put that up after the panel then?
No, that was there the whole time, and after the panel, they
Okay.
covered up the logo with a board showing the final logo.
Okay, that's what I
Yeah,
was asking.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you look carefully at the picture, you can see like a weird where the logo's
Yeah,
wider than
yeah.
ever. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
that
what I was
yeah,
thinking. They
that's
just
exactly
put
what they did.
something up. Okay.
Then they had these big like glasses, definitely like plastic, but with bright lights behind them, really making them shine for their big brands.
Yeah, that was cool.
It's just really good. Um, Bandai had the model kits on display. I have to say, the Bandai booth is the largest fucking thing I've ever seen at a convention, ever.
Yeah, Bandai always brings it. Like I'm sure it was bigger than what they had at ASUN at ASUN. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was cartoonishly impressive. Like, in different carpet than everything just for the Bandai booth. It was like a neon orange carpet and a giant screen above. It was very impressive looking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I assume everyone saw my horrible photo booth pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. I. It is impossible for me to smile in photos, and we'll deal with that in a moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I should point out. So let's go over this first. The autograph thing. They had you give them your phone if you wanted a photo, and they're
Mm-hmm.
holding my phone sideways and aiming it down. So I'm like, shit.
Oh.
I need to like get down so I'm actually in the picture. But like, so I'm not sure because they're trying.
This is an art form. When I volunteer at Wizard World, it happened a few times where I would end up being the photographer for some of the celebrity guests, and it is an art form. And
Yeah.
apparently, the way I do it, the guests really appreciate it because I keep getting requested. It's like I have apparently next time Jason David Frank comes back to Madison, I'm gonna be his camera guy.
Yeah, it was because I see the camera pointing. I'm like, crap. I actually want to be the photo. What's the quickest thing I can do? Slightly lean over was the best I could come up with.
It looks like they're leaning over too. That's the funny thing.
Yeah, they are.
Like there's a bit of a triple head tilt going on.
Yeah, it was kind of weird to figure out where.
That was intentional. If that's the pose you were going for.
Yeah, and got the posters and got them signed. And we haven't actually gotten the clean version of the Survive. It is an updated version of the key art featuring the other characters whose names I don't remember right now.
Mm-hmm.
AR, do you remember?
Oh no, I
Good.
Yeah.
That way I'm not the only one who's completely forgotten.
Yeah.
Then it's kind of weird to already have the logo in stuff for adventure. Like, it's just.
I guess. I mean, I would have expected it at DigiFest anyway.
Yeah, true.
At that point, so.
Like, oh sure, but
it's a couple weeks early, so.
Oh sure, but I mean in the sense of we had the English logo first.
Well, the English logo is not that different from the Japanese
logo. No,
though.
It isn't. And it looks good. The one thing I haven't seen anyone mention is the colors clearly are meant to be the original adventure logo.
I would say they're a bit more orangey than they were originally.
But again, a bit, but yeah.
So don't quote me on that.
Yeah. And I planned ahead, and I had the case inserts for the Tri Collection and Cyber Sleuth with me, and got them to sign those also.
Who did you? He signed the Tri ones. Was he involved? He wasn't involved with Tri, was?
Kinoshita was involved later in Tri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was one of the ones who did the commentaries when they did the live action ones also.
Oh, gotcha.
That's why I grabbed the collection, so I didn't have to pay attention to which one I was grabbing.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That was a cheat so that I didn't have to deal with it. So I just grabbed the collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, nice. The line for that, they were only doing 75 or 100. And it was one of those where you have to line up at a different time to get tickets, and the lineup time to get tickets is basically right after the panel, and they announce it at the panel.
Oh.
So I should mention
The the limited slots is annoying enough, but the need for a foot race is even worse.
So here's exactly what I did. I'm walking to the exhibition hall while typing on my phone, because did you see the article as it was before I fixed it up when I got home?
Yeah.
Where it was like random stream of conscious. That's
it
because
was very much. It was a telegram
Yeah.
of like, this is happening.
Yes.
Stop. This
Yes.
is happening. Stop.
That is literally because I'm walking and typing and trying to dodge people to make sure I get there.
The funny thing is, Vandy was doing a pretty good job keeping us up to date.
No, she did. She did very good, which is very great because she really hates doing news. That is why she doesn't do news. And she even told me, her literal reaction was, "I only had to do this for 2 or 3 days. You do this like every." She was very like shocked at just how stressful it can be to do it. She did a very, very good job, though.
The Discord was we were keeping up with things pretty well.
Yeah.
So we found a couple sites that were kind of live blogging the panel, and Vanny was keeping the site updated. So we did fine.
Yeah.
We were doing okay.
I was right in front of.
You can have your vacation and mingle with the hoi polloi.
I was right in front of the RPG site guy, and he was very worried they were gonna throw him out. I think he tweeted that a few times because he was very worried that while he was tweeting the details, they'd think he was taking photos.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, so thank you for your service, sir.
Yeah. And we shall move on to. Well, some of it's swag, some of it's not. So
at this point, it feels like you're just showing us slides from your last vacation.
To be fair, I left out everything that wasn't Digimon for this, and there was a lot.
I would hope so.
To be fair, it could have been Mark's adventures at Anime Expo, and it arguably would have been on topic. I could have made it work. So they actually gave everyone who went to the panel a gift bag as you walked out. You got the art card with the logo and screenshots and the key art on the back. A clear file that was Cyber Sleuth on one side, Hacker's Memory on the other. I don't remember where this is from, to be honest. I thought it was from the museum thing they did, but I didn't see it when I went looking. But whatever, it's nice.
It's Cyber Sleuth. Yeah, I mean, it's not like the images are that new.
Yeah, and then the little survive sticker sheet. May's back.
May's back.
Hi.
I've muted May and AR. Because it's not really better. Not what's coming through for the show. Yeah. Okay. I had unmuted. If it sounds like I'm talking unnatural loud to myself, for anyone listening, it's because I've muted and it's so loud it's forcing me to talk louder so I can hear myself. I will unmute it. So wait. Okay, it's back. May, if you're talking, I can't understand anything. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going. Oh. 1 second. Okay, 1 second. I've turned down May's volume a little bit, and then I'm going to unmute. And May, I'm going to have to ask you to please go quickly when you do this because this is not. Okay, ready? I will try to filter it after, but ready, May? Okay, May, talk about Mimi.
Mimi's best girl. The end.
That was anticlimactic.
Yeah. I don't know if it was coming. It apparently wasn't coming through as bad for you as it was for me, AR.
I mean, I could definitely hear it. It sounded. Yeah.
No.
It sounded like I could put. It sounded like I could put up with it.
I don't.
There was a very strong, distinct background sound.
Okay, you're hearing something very different than I am. Then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe your standards are too high.
Thanks for showing up and saying that what you could. Don't we
I
will.
mean, it really got the
Yeah.
point
Yeah,
across.
it got the point across. And the truth is a lot of this we will be covering again.
Yeah.
So it's not this was more just rush. Let's talk about it.
If anything breaks in the next couple of weeks,
Yeah.
I'm the week after this one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good on Saturday. So
No problem. Okay, May's wandering off. So if anyone wants to say goodbye to May, we at least got her on, even if it didn't sound so great, but it worked well enough, and I will figure out how to deal with that. Hell. So back to the pickups. We were talking about the clear file, right?
yeah.
Okay, then there was the survive sticker sheet. I don't know why I like that as much as I do. It just did. It just feels weird to have merchandise for something that's so far away. Then I did pickups for Vandy and for Shin. The 2 pins at the top were for Vandy. The keychain was for Shin. I decided to grab the 2 at the bottom for myself when I saw them. Just liked them.
They're just picking up gifts for random people. I want to point out that I have bought stuff for Shin before.
Yeah.
So it's not just you. I've bought stuff for Shin.
Yeah. And
have fun with the shipping charges to Canada.
And because I put too much effort into the notes, I tracked down literally every single artist I bought the stuff from so I could properly plug them.
I should do that. Yeah, I wish I did that more consistently.
So the pins are from Mamobot, and the clear acrylic was from Nato. And then, well, after pickups, then you got the prints that I got. So there was an R War game print by Tyson Hesse, who's the Sonic comic artist, and animated the Sonic Mania intro. And
Ooh.
I really liked the print. You don't even have to have Koshiro and Takuru there, but it adds so much just to kind of see them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Then there was a Mimi and Palmont print by Polkio.
I think I've seen that one before. I like it.
I want to say I saw it online first.
Yeah, I think I've seen that on Tumblr or something.
Then a really nice Kari and Gatomon one by Mimi Miru.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Terriermon, Lopmon, and Kalumon one by Tilted Lily. This one just looked so. This one just looked so good walking by it. I nabbed it.
Yeah. Did you see that the Bandai put a new official artwork up?
For?
Just recently, it was just one of their usual.
Oh, you're talking about the roller coaster.
The little doodles, yeah, the roller coaster of.
Yeah, I put up a little translation-y
roller
thing
coaster of the Tamers,
Yeah.
The Tamers Digimon.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so, nice prints. I think my favorite is probably the Tyson Hesse one, because it looks so good.
It's very dynamic, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember walking by, just seeing it stopping, and just like, gonna get it.
Yeah, that's sort of one that like blows you away, and you just go, okay, gotta have it.
Yeah. And the signature isn't a print. He actually signed it with a gold foil pen. This is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's the end of that. I got more pickups, but I decided not to torture AR by going over all the non-Digimon ones.
I do the same thing at cons. I have 3 Digimon, so I need to fill space for at home.
Yeah. Poor Anke, DevQ, and Lost, and Shin all look through everything that I got with me. I'm sure they got annoyed by the end. And wow, we had a lot of questions sent in ahead of time. A number of which were actually sent in over Twitter, which I believe AR saw also.
I saw a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and start. The first was, how many of the questions that fans asked did they answer at the panel? It's hard to tell because they were composites. I would say there was maybe 6 or 7 total, but it felt like they were all composited down from many questions.
And we sort of expected that everything that they weren't gonna answer anything they didn't have a prepared answer for.
Yeah.
I think the question about the old games being released on a modern console was the only one they had to sort of be a pop out for, and even that was transitioned to announce Cyber Sleuth.
Yeah. But even then, is there anything more to really say about that one? Because that one, that's one of the, like, there's no interpretation of that question, is there?
I think not really.
Yeah.
Like, they answered, 6 or 7, but like you said, that was probably represented about 200 of the
Now,
1,800 of the stack.
now, AR, I'll let you do the next one.
Well, this one's okay. Ask it because this one confuses me
No,
what they're asking.
I'm saying I will let you ask this one.
Oh, do you think our people are being excessively butthurt about Try in the new movie, or is their anger justified in?
You cut out for the last half of that.
Do you think people are being excessively butthurt about Try in the new movie, or is their anger justified in their eyes?
Yeah, they
And
didn't quite clarify what they meant enough where it's
yeah.
kind of we have to guess. Do they mean the existence of it? What did it that like
And
here's
that's the thing is like what kind of
Yeah.
anger are we talking about anger
Yeah,
seeing
you're
it?
you're cutting out a lot now, AR.
Did a Dropbox start up again?
It
No?
did it?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay. It's like here's the thing. It's I'm more focusing on the excessively butthurt part because that's one where if someone doesn't like it, it doesn't matter. It's when people flip out that it kind of becomes a
Well,
thing, if that
I
makes
think
sense.
I think that the question's just being hyperbolic, but
It is.
it's like it's hard to say because
It feels like there is a real
it's
question.
like are we talking about people who were annoyed about Try and are annoyed that Adventure's getting another project, or people who were annoyed by Try and I guess are still annoyed that I saw the new project and are still annoyed because it looks like Try?
Yeah,
Is that?
here's the way
And
I'd
I
put
don't
it.
really see either of those people.
Here's the
I
way
mean, I
I'd
guess I see people who are mad about more adventure, but
Here's the way I'd put it. Whoever asked that, I think there is a good question here. I just don't think we got it.
yeah. See,
Like,
the
rewrite
thing is, like,
whoever wrote that, rewrite it, and we'll go over it. But there's not really enough. This one's just people are mad, and are they right or like what do you think they're mad over? Like
right.
if someone doesn't get the plot, whether me and AR will sit here and go, no, it makes sense because of X, Y, Z. If it doesn't work for someone, it doesn't work for someone.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, even if somebody didn't like, someone who is butthurt about Try, to use their words, I've seen a lot of people who didn't like Try that saw the new trailer and are still pretty cautiously optimistic about
Yeah.
it. They're like, "Oh, this looks like I didn't like Try, but this looks
Yeah.
good." That I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of
Well,
anger we're talking about here.
That's why I'm saying whoever it is, if they're listening, they should send it again, but clarify what you mean so that we can actually answer it because it's kind of assuming what the question is in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have to assume a lot about this question to really give you an answer.
Now the next one, it feels I don't know if this is a real one or if this one's like baiting us to joke.
Just throw it out.
Will the Adventure 2 kids have their moment to shine in the upcoming movie?
Well,
coin flip.
I mean, obviously we're speculating.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
we cannot give you an answer.
It is a coin flip because we don't know if they're gonna be involved, and I don't mean that in a mean or insulting way, but you could easily do it without them being around at all, especially if the movie takes place over a short time.
Like in Try, they sort of had to do that. Get rid of them, say at the beginning that they were getting rid of them to get rid of them and bring them back at the end, and we can we've gone on and on about the way they handled that.
Everyone
they needed to do that for Try. They don't even need to do that for this new movie. They can just not be in this new movie.
Yeah, everyone's the proper age where everyone can be off doing their own thing, not being at the same school. You don't need to explain anything. You can just say not around.
You don't even need to have a cop-out answer to not include them. I guess what I would say is an appearance. I would like to see them appear. Like, it would be sort of nice if they had a cameo, especially since we've already seen Koshiro in his profile talk about the other, the Chosen Children Network. Like, I would like to see them acknowledged as part of that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I guess, no, go on with your.
I would like to see them show up as more than silhouette.
Well, yeah.
I'm not. No, but I mean, I'm not saying they have to do something, but have them there in a way that
what
makes.
I was gonna get at my point.
Okay.
I'm really I'm seriously skeptical, as far as having a moment to shine is how the question was wording. And I'm not asking if they're going to appear. Will they have a moment to shine?
Well, that's the
And
thing. That
that's where I'm skeptical, because I don't know. I'm skeptical that they can make that work in a movie that does justice to all of these characters and still give them a moment to shine.
well, that's the other thing. It also depends. What does moment to shine mean? Heroic moment to shine, or just a good character moment? Because
Yeah.
everyone does
I
get,
mean,
like, for example, everyone gets good character moments in Wargame, but many of them are not really in the movie.
I don't even think they all had great character moments, but that's just me.
They
I
had
don't like
okay,
Joe and
okay.
Mimi they sort of copped out on. But I'm sort of thinking,
you're
but I
you're
guess
not wrong, but it does fit the
yeah, I
characters.
guess
What I mean.
I get what you're saying is like if you just had a moment at the end where Imperial Dramon showed up and helped out in the final battle, and you see Daisuke, does
No,
that
and
really count as a moment to shine?
maybe, but like for example,
Yeah, it
if
depends on your. I guess it depends on your definition.
but
Like
like
it isn't for me. Like I want them
no,
to do
exactly.
something.
But like if we saw Daisuke and Vimon running around with a ramen cart, would that alone be enough to make someone happy?
Right.
It's almost a reason why you don't use them, because if you don't use them in a way that's well, it's worse than not using them.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my view. Everyone's
Yeah.
gonna have a different opinion on that.
This is another one you could kick back with the follow-up question. Do you consider everyone who appeared in the Hunters crossover as having a moment to shine? And then see what they respond with that, and then we can better answer their question.
Look, we only got a silhouette of Joe, as I recall.
Right.
Yeah.
But we got to hear him. We
No.
got to hear him and
No.
Delmamon. Like, they were voiced, even though we only got them in silhouette.
Now, AR,
But does that count?
This question's all yours to ask.
Stuff to ponder here. Next question.
Go ahead.
Oh, stuff to ponder there. Next question.
No, I'm saying you asked the question, since only I can really answer this one.
Oh, no, I was being rhetorical.
Next question, AR.
Okay. Did you get the chance to ask about Appmon at Expo?
No.
Yeah, they really kind of blocked that path off.
Yeah,
they're only taking on the question.
I remember at one point someone was like, someone should go to the booth and demand answers about Appmon. It's like, you're gonna bother some poor employee who doesn't know anything?
Yeah, that doesn't work. You'd have to ask. I was suggesting they did that back before we found out who the actual people on the panel were.
Yeah.
And before we found out how the format of asking questions.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this on the last podcast. It's like once they said that Bondi would be taking all the questions and filtering them to come up with the ones that they wanted to answer themselves. Then what was that?
Game. That it would just be game questions.
It would just be game questions.
To be fair,
we knew this going in that unless they actually had something to announce Appmon, we weren't going to talk about Appmon.
Then the next question was for the contest for what Digimon means to you. What did the 3 people say to win, and what did you say? I don't remember if they told us what the 3 winners say, and mine was character. I don't remember, to be honest. Because here's the thing.
Did they judge that based on the answers, or was that a raffle?
Okay, here's exactly how it worked, just so I can clarify. I'm standing in line. Bandai staff member walks by with like a big board with a QR code on it, and also with an URL at the bottom that basically says, enter the panel contest by telling blah blah. So I scanned with my phone, I wrote something up and sent it, and this was maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes before the panel.
Yeah.
And that was it. And then they announced the winners. And then they announced the winners at the very end. Like, there was no clarification, at least none that I remember. I admit, once it started, you're kind of just listening for your name.
Yeah.
So it's possible they did answer that stuff, and I just don't remember. Because realistically,
if you could have entered the contest that late, they didn't actually read the entries. You could have honestly put down, I like Digimon because it looks like Pokemon but worse, and they still could have chosen your names to win.
Yeah, that's my assumption. But the truth is I don't know.
That's how it works.
I'm not affiliated with this man. He does not speak for me.
Maybe they really like that answer. It's like
Yeah.
Pokemon, but
Yeah.
like that's how the
Ooh, and you're breaking up again. Let us
That's
move.
okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I was bullshitting.
Yeah. The next question was Florimon shown as the fourth partner? I mean, that we already saw, didn't we?
I don't remember.
She's the partner of not Mimi.
Oh, okay.
And was the fifth partner shown in the opening cinematic? I don't, off the top of my head, I don't really remember seeing the Digimon in, like, I think we saw a shadow of a character at one point. It was more the kids, like, starting their day, if that makes sense.
Which makes sense for an opening
Yeah.
cinematic because
Like,
the Digimon will come later.
yeah, I saw a
Like
shadowed.
if you're gonna show the first
Yeah.
2 minutes of Digimon
Yeah.
Adventure, you're not gonna see any Digimon in
Yeah,
it.
it's one of those things where you're sitting in a room, it's a big room, there's a big screen right in front of you, you watch a 4 minute clip, and then you move on to something else. So it's one of those things where like I vaguely remember stuff, but I just don't remember details, if that makes sense.
I suspect that this part of the cinematic will be online sooner rather than later. So
Yeah.
like this one, I honestly thought that this Survive tease was going to be come up before the Kizuna tease.
I
And I
feel
was
I
wrong.
feel like they knew that there might be some meandering in the discussion of the game stuff, so they did the anime first.
No, I meant going online public with all that.
Oh, okay.
Like I honestly, a lot of us, me and a lot of people in the Discord expected the Kizuna trailer to not be publicly available until after DigiFest, but the Survive one, there's no reason they were just going to put that up right away.
Yeah. I I was a bit surprised getting a full trailer for Kizuna, to be honest. It felt like that.
That was like
It felt like
tier 2. Yeah.
see, the main reason it surprised me is because that really feels like something you would hold for DigiFest with it only being a few weeks away.
Yeah, I was not. I mean, it was something like I think I had it on 2.
Yeah.
That surprised, but I am surprised that they put it online already.
Yeah. Yeah, that I am surprised by. We're going to the last question that was sent in ahead of time, so anyone in the chat who has a question or thoughts, now is when to start tossing up. The last.
And Bree, please repost them if you put one up
Yes.
already, because I wasn't looking.
And also, it just occurred to me, if you sent them over Twitter, I could have written down the names, and I just forgot to. What are your thoughts, impressions on the staff of KIZUNA in comparison to the staff of Tri? It's kind of the same situation where it's basically a different staff, and it's people that generally seem to do competent work. It depends if you like the stuff they worked on.
Yeah, like I mean, the established track record with Digimon means we kind of know what we're getting, but I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, the writing of Digimon is so up and down that it's really hard to say.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he wrote, like, for all I know, he wrote all the crappy episodes of Sabers.
All of them. It's all of them. But yeah, it is kind of the situation where we probably could have looked that up before we started, now that I think about it.
I suppose. Yeah. Are we going to composite? Should I pull my Store grades for all of the episodes?
No.
Done? Because I could do that.
No, I think we can pass that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things where writer seems good, director seems good, but until you actually, like, you can have the best director in the world and a movie that might still fall flat. You could have a terrible director and everything happens to fit together.
Like, my opinion on this new movie has not really changed all that much. Like, it still looks like it's going to be a nice little nostalgia fest without being all that demanding, and I think a lot of people want that.
Which is weird because that's what everyone says Try is, but Try isn't, and that's kind of...
Try is not a nostalgia fest. Try uses nostalgia and beats you over the head with it, and says, "Why would you dare be nostalgic over this stuff?"
Yeah.
It's like, we're gonna punish you for being nostalgic. I love it.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, this does feel like it really does want the full, which is weird because Reunion really was nostalgia. And then
it was nostalgia that they were going to then use against. That's why it worked out. That's why Try's so good.
Yeah. Let's see. Doesn't look like there's any questions, so we'll give them a chance and then we'll call it.
That's quite all right. A minute, hour and a half is pretty long for an emergency podcast.
Yeah. Especially since I only got back yesterday and me and Lost were only working on the title cards last night until like 3 a.m.
We got a question.
Yeah, from Ian. Assuming the U.S. theatrical release of KIZUNA is a dub, do you think we'll get Crunchyroll simulcasting the sub on the Japanese release date?
Ooh,
If you would ask me off the top of my head, no,
yeah, my initial answer would be no.
because it's the same. It's kind of the situation we've described before, where despite the marketing and such, Toei does not consider try movies internally. Like
Mhm.
if you go look at their catalog that they have online, they're listed as OVAs. They're
That
OV.
brings up another, that brings up another interesting thing.
Sure.
Is this, if you think about this really hard, is Kizuna the first real Digimon movie?
You mean
If you think
you
about
mean full
just
length
the first full-on,
tech?
full-length theatrical production.
I would. The problem is
That's
that
what makes you think, doesn't
so,
it?
yeah, because the definition of feature length kind of shifts based on who you ask.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, also based on the way they screened, because a lot of the first movies for the first few seasons were all part of the Toei
yeah,
anime fair.
yeah.
So it's like whether or not those are real movies, like a lot of them are just sort of 30-40 minute shorts in a way. And even something as long as Hurricane Touchdown was sort of split into two parts
Would you
technically.
would you?
Hur-
Sorry, go ahead.
Hurricane Touchdown, is sort of considered two separate 40-minute movies.
No, it's a long movie with an intermission.
Yeah, but that's the idea. It's like Hurricane Touchdown is part 1 and Golden Digimentals is part 2 or something like that.
But
Like it has that weird. That's why it has that weird two title.
No,
thing.
that's because it was an intermission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, movies don't have full-length movies don't have intermissions.
Yeah, they do. Not
Well,
anymore, but they have.
I mean, Monty Python and the Holy Grail does, but
no, I'm saying there are movies
no,
with
I know what you mean, but
okay. Would you like an academic answer to this?
Sure.
To apply for an Academy Award for feature length motion picture, 40 minutes or more.
Okay.
So there are Digimon movies, not including Digimon the movie, of course, that are that length. Not many. War Game would apply to that. Would apply to that
War
size.
Game's close.
War Game's
right
45. Hurricane Touchdown Golden Digimentals is 65, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And
then it would be just X Evolution after that, wouldn't it?
No,
I mean,
Battle of Adventurers was 50.
Battle of Adventures got to 50. Damn.
Yeah, and
wow.
The Ancient Digimon Revival was 40 basically on the nose.
Okay.
And X Evolution was not a feature. It was made as a feature, but clipped into a TV special.
Yeah. So it's like
But if you think
about that, it's just
it's the first one that is effectively a movie, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's the first one that's going to get its standalone theatrical production.
Which is weird because even though Toei does consider them OVAs, they treated them marketing-wise as movies.
Yeah.
Minus that they did not get a.
I don't know if I'm not sure that they were going to do that, planning to do that for all 6 movies though.
No,
to
be fair, they did, but they never got a full theatrical release. They got very limited.
Yeah, they got a couple, like 9 theaters and.
Yeah, it was effectively you can go buy this right now, watch it in theaters, and then go buy.
That was the clue. Is like you could buy the DVD. You could buy
in the theater
right away in the theater.
That's not
usually how it works for.
And digital was released right when they started the theatrical run.
Yeah.
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 But
so.
Yeah. And according to Ian,
that's why I don't count. It's like you don't really count Try as being movies.
And according to Ian, Hateful Eight had a full intermission in its theatrical run.
Okay.
AR's dying. Man, I'm not editing this crap. I mean, realistically, I don't have a choice, but yeah.
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 You don't
So
have to do it. You don't have to do it tonight.
true, it's a special and there's no nudes connected to it, but I probably will anyways.
Yeah, you probably should. Emergency podcasts generally
Yeah.
should go out as soon
Um.
as you can get them out.
So this one will get a nice warning from me at the beginning. But yeah. So we'll see.
Of water, like a
We'll,
half. I
yeah.
ran out of water like ago, so.
Yeah. We'll see if they get any more. We'll see if there's any more questions. Then we'll call it. But yeah, this. Is there ways for there to be same day stuff? Technically, yes, but realistically, no, because just the
This
way it
one,
is.
yeah, I wouldn't expect it.
I don't
Like the
expect
try,
day.
I almost feel like the try was sort of scrambled together because obviously the way it was chopped up for Crunchyroll was probably not ideal. Crunchyroll doesn't really do movies.
Oddly, they just announced that they were bringing over the Konosuba movie, but we don't know how that is, and I probably not day one, certainly.
Oh yeah.
But we'll see. Uh, Day one, no. Is it possible something dubbed maybe month one or two? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean they said it's going to get a U.S.
Spring
release, so it might
2020.
be. Yeah, so it might be spring 20. February is not spring.
Sorry, say again.
February is not spring.
Maybe it counts spring in Japan. I'm too lazy to
Yeah, I
check that.
suppose the last Try movie they said was going to be in the summer, and it was in May.
Yeah, they sort of skirted that edge a bit. But here's
It's they're further ahead hours wise than we are, so their seasons start a month early.
see, but who knows? It could be something weird. It could be something like Netflix has licensed it, and it will be there on day one. Like
Yeah,
distribution's gone a bit weird in the recent years. Like
yeah. Who knows? They could do all sorts of stuff.
in a few countries, what was the one with Ryan Reynolds and was it The Hitman's Bodyguard? That
You
was
got to be way more specific on Ryan Reynolds.
yeah, Ryan Reynolds and I think it was Denzel Washington.
Okay.
I think it
No, I
was
still
him.
don't know which movie it was.
It was a movie called Hitman's Bodyguard. It's what major film, but Netflix had licensed in a few countries, and they had it day one in those countries.
Okay.
And now I think they're doing the Hitman's Bodyguard's wife or something. But yeah, I think that's about all we have for this. Do we have any more thoughts about anything we covered in here?
I don't think so. I could look through my notes, but I also want to get going. So,
Okay.
it's 11:40 right now.
Hey, you picked the time.
I picked the time by accident.
hey, I tried to schedule.
Yeah, you see, you can put the blame on me, but I done up.
I'm putting. Yeah, it's true. But yeah, that's about it. And almost everything here, minus the directly convention stuff, we will cover.
Yeah.
And oddly, what was it? Was it the last episode or the one before where someone went, "Could episodes be closer together?" Because we're
Well,
recording.
this was a weird.
No, it
that
is.
was a
But it's gonna be weird for a bit. We're recording the 8th,
yeah.
and realistically, we will do a burn off episode on the 20th for any news.
Yeah.
And then, realistically, we will do an episode on Sunday after DigiFest on the 28th.
Oh yeah, they got that going too.
Yeah. So we will see what comes up.
It's just if this is just the busy season.
Yep. Thank you everyone for showing up. AR, where can they find you?
For Twitter on First Agent ARP, I will be roaming around Kitsune Con around the programming area. So if you're up in Green Bay this weekend.
Yep. That's like you said this weekend. So nothing Digimon going on there?
Nothing official. Okay. We don't have any Digimon voice actors this year. We sort of burned them all out 2 years ago, and last year when we had this is caveat being I'm sure somebody on the guest list has probably made a 1 episode appearance in Fusion because everyone has, but
yeah. Okay.
That doesn't count.
But yeah, so if you see AR at the convention, say hello. You can find me at With the Will. May can be found at
Please do say hello, because I do have people saying that they saw me at Con, but they talk to me.
So we'll be back here basically in a week and a half at this, closer to 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, a week and a half, something. I'll be optimistic. It's a short work week for me.
Hopefully with more May. Yeah,
I thought she did fine.
No, she did fine. There was nothing wrong with her. It was just the noise.
I would have put up with it.
I
also don't have to clean up the
yeah,
noise
that's true. Thanks everyone for showing up. We will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.